Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now, we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Wow, what an enthusiastic start this is.
Discord gang.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, yo.
Hey, John. Great timing.
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
I think you were saying something about Descartes.
Oh, which one? I think, therefore I am, or
No, that line you said was great. Question is self. I think something like that. What was it?
well, the question itself, like presupposes your existence. So if you ask someone if they can prove they exist, well, they have to exist for you to ask them that question.
The act of ponderance upon the question makes your existence self-evident in the pondering of the question itself. I think, therefore I am. Okay, well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. If you're a member, you'll make much more sense of that because you'll be watching it after the fact on the members-only live stream. Whatever you call it, it's not members-only live stream. I'm very frazzled. I was up 14 hours of computer faffing, let's say. So now, if I start stuttering, it's because I'm not drunk, but tired, just so we're all clear. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline? No, Nathan, that's just not possible. You have to have a flat Earth. Oh, well, I'm glad I've got about 20 people here to answer the questions.
I was hoping another Glober had stumbled in and was going to tell you how you can measure a dip angle to a geometric horizon.
We gotta lure them in. We need some type of bait.
Oh, speaking of which, so yes, we did have a baller on, and that baller has been trimmed out at great, huge stress to me because my iPad has started to crap out because I got a bit of water into it when I was filming a storm. Ugh. Well, now that's caused me endless headaches. But anyway, in the interest of getting the content out, I did spend about 4.5 hours editing an 8-minute video, which is that video, and it's called, if you remember, Rubber Ducky Glurf. Earth is just flat. And it is, in essence, that glurfer coming and telling us about Earth being basically flat, essentially flat, because it's flat at that point, and all the rest of it. So you can check that out if you remember. I will release it over the weekend for non-members or the public, but if you want to watch it now and you remember, you can. There's also the intro that I do. So I've done things a little bit differently because of the iPad woes, and have just published the second video, which normally goes out as a trailer. So the 3-minute shortened version that's on when it's ready to be premiered as a trailer. So that's also there if you want to watch it, which is called Rubber Ducky, You're the One. I might play that. If you can talk amongst yourselves for a bit, I'm going to dig out the 3-minute video I spent bloody hours with a broken iPad doing today. So hopefully you can talk amongst yourselves. And That will be the biggest
Yes.
hint.
What is your
Yeah.
favorite color, Neil?
Well, no, I was going to say that in the heliocentric religion, if you say that when you're doing a dip angle correction, it is the differential between your eye level and where sea level meets the sky, you'll never get anyone who disagrees with that. They all agree to that without thinking about what those words mean, because that means you have two parallel lines that are running at a horizontal to infinity, but the bottom line is demarcated at the horizon. So it's parallel all the way up to the horizon. And then after that's where they think Earth curve exists. That's the point.
Perfect. Thank you. You've given me enough to be able to queue up this video. So this, as I is the trailer that'll go out when it's ready to be published to the general public. So when it's got a timer and it's going to come out on Saturday or Sunday, this is the trailer that you'll see. But I might as well play it out.
Question is, how is me falling into the water with the rubber ducky life preserver and a sextant rendering null the refraction correction and the refracted radius?
If you're at the water level, let's say you're literally bobbing your eyes in and out of the water, the horizon's right in front of you. There's nothing to correct for. Because depth accounts for height, is my understanding. If you have no height off the water, then there is no corrections.
So it's a height of eye correction is what you're saying.
Because you're level with that horizon, you don't have to account for its drop. Depth accounts for height, because you're literally looking at the water level. You're bobbing your eyes in and out of the pool, essentially. So it's just flat. It is just flat.
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
You make
Hey,
bath
you did
time
what you-
lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you.
My question is, how is me falling into the water with the rubber ducky life preserver and a sextant rendering null the refraction correction and the refracted radius?
As you go up, the horizon will eventually start to drop, and then you have to make corrections. That is my understanding of it. So it goes away because at zero, there is no need for it.
Oh, so you're saying they just go away? He answered my question.
It is just flat.
That's
At that
preposterous.
elevation, yes.
Hold on. You said at that elevation, it's just flat then? That's what you said.
No, it is just flat. It is just flat. So nothing's flat just because you're at that
That's what you
elevation.
just said.
Your
Those were your,
perspective of the
it's another
horizon
one of
is level
those, isn't it?
field.
The host quotes back what you said verbatim,
It is just flat.
and you say no. That's what you said. At that point, it's just flat.
Sorry, it is just flat. That's
You
how
don't
the
have to
process is
talk
presented.
through me when it gets to the devastating bit you said, and I repeat. You said at that point it is flat.
It is just flat at that stage.
Thank you. I'll be in the area all week.
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
You make
Hey,
bath
you did
time
what you-
lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you.
Also,
Come on,
Nathan,
you
the
get
thing
it,
he
though.
was, the thing he wasn't getting was with the rubber ducky preserver life boat was, yeah, his eyes on. You're still using the sextant, and you're still bringing a luminary down, which could be thousands of miles away to zero.
Because you're literally looking at the water level. You're bobbing your eyes in and out of the pool, essentially. So it is just flat at that stage.
There you go. So the extended version, without obviously lots of heavy
A
obvious
sprint
edits,
victory and points off.
is available to members, so you can check that out if you choose to do so. Do we want some more housekeeping, or should we get straight into the video that we start? We sort of halfway through this video, so I'm quite keen to get back onto it. So this is NASA chief just leaked Webb Telescope shocking discovery in space, catchy title from the Voyager channel. Any objections to it?
Sounds like breaking news.
Indeed, he do. It's only from 4 days ago.
Let's get right into the video.
Is this the video from yesterday?
Yes.
Right. 6 minutes and 70 seconds.
6 minutes 17. Yeah.
Exactly.
Phenomena across a wider range of wavelengths.
Webb Space Telescope is destined to be the world's next great observatory, and it really does belong to the world.
These feats were impossible in the past. The shining glory of the James Webb Telescope is the
What feats? What's it supposed to be doing? It's out in a second law of thermodynamics violation, right? Who just joined, by the way? Hello, whoever it was that just joined. It's Chocolate.
Yep.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Chocolate. So we're back into doing this again. It's part 2 of the Voyager video that we were doing yesterday, just so you're up to speed, Chocolate. For the people watching, as before, here's a link to the Voyager channel. Let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And in this instance, because this is Arwin that's actually instigated this, at ARWIJN. If you just click on the link that's going by in the live stream and just literally drop them a quick message at Nathan Oakley 1980 or at ARWIJN sent me. And hopefully, if they were to ever respond to either Arwin or myself who have commented on this video in this day's and yesterday's live stream for that matter, they'll hopefully do the same. You know, the whole point of doing this is that we'd get some reciprocation. In other words, they'd put my link on their video if they were to come back to us and say, oh, no, very unreasonable with our 4-day-old report about this leaked information. Yeah, please let them know.
Near-infrared camera. This tool is designed to operate in the infrared spectrum. This tool was designed to detect wavelengths of light that are invisible to the human eye. It captures high-resolution images of distant celestial bodies with sharp clarity. Stars, galaxies, and nebulae are a few of the numerous bodies the James Webb Telescope captures.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. If it's claimed to be capturing just pictures of the lights in the sky, I mean, this one here might be from James Webb, but it looks exactly the same as the Hubble images that they coloured in. But there we go, they're just reusing the same old tricks, it seems. Oh, well, we can't see in infrared, so here's us colouring it in. Okay. Whatever. But in any event, right, no problem. I've not nobody here on the panel, unless somebody butts in at this point, has got an issue with people taking images of the night sky. The problem is when you claim that the images come from a second law of thermodynamics violation telescope in a sky vacuum in an orbit that's a derivative value from the church to give you predictions about when Easter will come, and doesn't actually put the Earth as a sphere moving around the sun with this telescope falling around a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum that violates the second law of thermodynamics. So yeah, that's our objection to all of this. You know, sure, pretty pictures. Okay, yeah, you've coloured them in. Even then, fine, no worries. But what? It's come from space? No, it hasn't. What? They're really sharp images of planets? No, they're not.
The near-infrared camera has been instrumental in capturing intricate details and structures without which...
Structures. See, there we go. Into our begging the question of structure. Physical assumption bias, right, Arwin? Yeah, Nathan.
They would have been impossible to study.
Structure meaning physical, right?
Well, yeah, the physical assumption bias. In other words, Mars is assumed to be soil. I've been trying to weasel this in, but no one's really picked up on it when I've been saying it. I said it about the sun.
Well,
again,
hold on.
nobody
if
objected to that either. But when I say it's soil, I mean the physical assumption bias in this instance is structure. Doesn't matter if it's a further second law of thermodynamics violation, structure of gas. So gas giants.
Hey Nathan, what if someone says like a mental structure, a defensive structure? What about that?
Contextually, they're talking about physicality, though, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Textbookly, yes. In QE mode, yes.
Not really, because it's non sequitur. But anyway, we'll continue.
Alongside that is the near-infrared spectrograph, which has special spectroscopic analysis capabilities.
Oh, spectroscopic, eh? So this is utilizing spectroscopy.
The near-infrared spectrograph breaks down the light received from celestial sources into its basic wavelengths.
Really? What about all the stuff in between? Is it accounting for that?
Probably not.
Definitely not. It can't. It's not isolated from any of it.
This allows scientists to...
Scientists? Cut to. Couldn't be better. Look at this. Absolutely epic. Right. Let's make this big. In the mind's eye...
Study the unique
of the general public. That's a scientist. Hope you can all see that if you're monitoring along in the chat, G+ or Discord. Go to the live stream and you'll see what I'm talking about. That's what a scientist is in the mind's eye of the general public. Men in white coats, in this case with white masks, standing behind a big bit of machinery, holding up something with a big shiny light next to it. This is science that they're doing right there, isn't it? It's got to be. That's science. You know what they're actually doing? I know because I actually took this photo. I didn't. It's just for the sake of example. They're actually looking at a menu. They're deciding what they're going to have for dinner. Yep, they're going to order takeout, and what's on that piece of paper is a menu. It's a really cool menu. It lights up. It's from this really trendy restaurant in the centre of town that they're in. Amazing restaurant, really cool. But obviously it's quite dark, and he's got to get a torch on it. So what they're doing in this picture is looking at a menu with a torch. Science, right? No. See, science is establishing the cause of a phenomenon you study in nature. Nothing that we've had so far is that, because we've got coloured in images of a light that we can't see. That's what we've actually got. You want to call that a phenomena for science to suddenly prevail over it? It's just absurd. But here we go. Here's your scientists. That'll be the screenshot. Thumbnail, I should say.
Spectral signatures of various astronomical objects. With these signatures, astronomers can determine celestial bodies' chemical composition.
Can they? What, with spectroscopy? We've just covered this. No, you can't. You've got no isolation whatsoever of anything in this regard. What about the stuff in between you and what you're claiming to be studying?
Temperature and motion, unraveling the secrets of their formation.
Nah, you're not doing that. You're not unraveling any secrets.
And evolution processes.
Oh, straight away into why he said that, because he's got evolution. What's that?
The near-infrared spectrograph provides an in-depth...
Here we go. So this just appeal to clever technology. We've got this technology, which is bunk anyway. It's not real in regards to stellar spectroscopy, which is what they're detailing here. Now, he's not mentioned it by its specific title. We have. But stellar spectroscopy is flawed. Why? Well, we've got Dr. John Dee, who's specifically trained in spectroscopy. That's what his doctorate's in. And what is spectroscopy? Well, isolating things so you can have a look at them. Yeah? That's basically what we're talking about. Well, in this instance, you're not isolating anything. You're having a look at stuff and then deciding, based on its colour, that apparently we can't see, what the physical makeup of it is. It's just assumption upon assumption upon assumption. But if you make it sound technologically advanced, throw up a couple of pictures of men in white coats, or men and women in white coats, while looking at a curry menu, deciding what they're going to have for dinner.
Processes which occur in the universe. Completing this extensive suite of instruments is the mid-infrared instrument.
Oh, it's very, very clever. It's very technological. This is very, very science.
This extends the telescope's capabilities into the mid-infrared range.
Wow. Therefore, stellar spectroscopy and the unraveling of the secrets of the universe? No. What a load of old nonsense. Just a load of made-up stories. Backed by clever-looking gizmos. Now here, I assume the majority of the people in the audience currently, how many people are watching? 70. Please share the show. What's going on? That bloody work to keep this live show streaming. Please smash that share button. Oh, we're actually bloody streaming. Please God, please God. Yes, we are. Thank the Lord. Anyway, yes, press the share button. But with the people watching, I would hope that they're all well and truly aware of the paradigm that you can have pulled over your eyes with just a few pseudoscience claims. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's also going to be a good portion of the audience that really, really hanker after that next pseudoscience claim to be propping up a bullshit assertion that's got no evidence. But that's...
Right.
Oh, that's Trigger Darwin. Go ahead,
Don't forget about the CGI, right? The CGI is really important. They really made effort in this video to show it to you as they're talking about with the most pristine CGI possible.
But earlier in the video, it wasn't. When they were talking about the James Webb Telescope and they showed it multiple times, like 2 or 3 times. And then they cut to the showing of it being built on the ground in some hangar somewhere or wherever it's being built. Well, the comparison was so stark with the really white light and the white floors and the white walls and the shiny piece of electronics that's being built that's vast by comparison to most electronics. And then you compare that to them showing it in the sky vacuum, and it's just crap. It's not even good CGI. Now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to the rest of the cutting and the editing, there's some nice transitions and there's some nice framing of the images and such. But it's the CGI itself for the James Webb Telescope, I thought was very lacking. Maybe I'm not seeing.
But you're right about that part. I mean, the telescope, the outside view of it in space, but they're just trying to keep the quality consistent because they've never actually shown a photograph of a satellite in space, and they've always resorted to, at first, drawing it, hand-drawn examples, right? And then, with computer animation, eventually CGI. So it's like they always show the CGI. They've never shown it in a photograph, right? They only show you the photographs taken from space with them, but they never show the satellite in space with an actual photograph, even if it were possible, which it isn't.
Yeah, it would involve a trip into a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum. And currently, while they can and often don't disclaim that it is a CGI rendering, I mean, in this video, it's not official NASA rhetoric, it's just some YouTuber, even if they're quite big. But they don't have to disclaim next to every CGI composited image that it's that. So you just have the continuity kept, is what you're saying. So it matches the crapo vision from NASA over the years. And it's like, well, now what is easily done by a YouTuber just kind of matches the 1990s representation after they stopped being hand-drawn.
Right. Well, the point of showing it is not to make you think it's real. It's to make it consistent with what you're used to seeing when they show you things, right? So that you know, like, oh yeah, this is the same picture they show me that's of the same quality. So it's those guys that we can trust do that. That's kind of the effect they're going for.
It's the 2023 version of the aluminum foil washing machine.
I think it's the continuity. Come on, guys. The aspect that Arwin's trying to highlight here is the continuity. It all matches up. So it was crap then, it's crap now. It's just your average YouTuber can attain that crap standard. But ultimately, it achieves the same thing as it did in Crapo Vision from NASA back in the 90s. It's familiar. Oh, right, this is that standard that I know. When I see something from space, this is kind of what it looks like. So it doesn't matter if it's CGI or otherwise. That's what it's representing, and I understand that. Let's move on. I don't need to assess this any further because I've seen it so many times. It's familiar. It keeps continuity.
Right, you know it's real because it looks so fake.
Yeah,
that's what
there you go.
stands for.
Perfect timing. Just give out props. That was the best quote ever, in the most perfect of timing and spots in the show. Exactly right. So what's Elon Musk doing? Well, he's not going to make it look too real because obviously he'll undermine NASA, but he can't make it look too fake either. It's got to be shiny to a certain degree because it's SpaceX. So he's got to find the balance. When do you know you found the balance, Elon? Well, you know it's real because it looks so fake. Or whatever he said. Arwin, just quote him again because I'm going to balls it up after 5 hours sleep.
Oh, 5 hours sleep? Had a long night?
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy.
What was the Elon Musk quote?
You know it's real because it looks so fake.
Right.
That's literally that.
They're perfect. Exactly.
But I can test that. They're sending rockets up. Where are these rockets going?
The rockets are real. You can send fireworks up, and often when it's NASA, they got it down pegged. They got it into a nice parabolic arc and sent it into the Bermuda Triangle. Well, sometimes when the private enterprise,
how do you know?
Because you can see it. I don't distrust those ground images from dozens of onlookers that watch the firework go up. As much
You
as
said it goes to the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, that's my speculation. Well, that's just the direction it's going, isn't it? I can only extrapolate that. I don't have any evidence, but that is literally the direction they're sending them. And that's where they're pointing them and where they go, because there is no space for them to go to. So where the hell else do you want me to say they're going? I don't know. You're right to be pedantic on that point. But anyway, let's not detract from the overriding point. You can have plenty of eyewitnesses watch them launch a rocket. Now, the spectacle of that launch is the most important part of the David Copperfield trick that they're pulling off. That's the prestige of the trick.
But why would they do that? What's the purpose
That's
of
the
that?
most important bit of the trick. It's the making the what was the example John gave earlier? Making the Empire State Building disappear. The fireworks and the smoke and the drum roll and the orchestra playing the high note just as the curtain drops for it to be gone. That's the prestige. Seeing the rocket that's gonna go to space actually launch off the pad is where the general public get to say, I saw a rocket go to space. That's the prestige of the trick.
So can we track this rocket from beginning of launch till end of launch, or do we lose sight of it at some point?
Oh, of course we can. You have a massive, great big telescreen in a really cool looking setting with loads of desks. And you have this wave over a Mercator projection. And you have a little blip. You might even have a beep, beep, beep as it goes along the wave. It's absolutely incredible, Neil.
I'm talking about the
And
common man.
you know it's
I'm talking about
especially real
Trump.
when they say it's nominal. Everything is nominal.
No,
That's when you definitely know it's real.
I know what you're saying, but say like we wanted to go to a launch and all of us look at it and track it. Not talking about in a room with computers. I'm just asking, is there a way visually that we can track this rocket?
Where's it going? What's the direction it's going? I said Bermuda Triangle and you shot me down. Where do you want me to go with this?
It goes up.
He
No, it
wants you to
doesn't.
put a bat tracer on it.
It doesn't go up. Go and have a look at the footage. It goes out. Doesn't go up.
It's a parabolic trajectory.
Yes.
It has to be. They have to gain enough
Neil.
speed to get into space, right?
There is no space.
Neil.
Neil, are you okay?
Hold on, Neil. We know there's no space. So therefore the rocket isn't going to... If the rocket can go past the gas pressure that we're breathing into an area of volume that gas violates the second law of thermodynamics and does not fill, then we wouldn't have the law of nature that is the second law of thermodynamics anymore, because gas wouldn't be filling space in line with entropic law. But the rocket can go into the space, the gas just... we don't have space. Space is fake. So we know it's not going to an area of volume called a sky vacuum. Ergo, well, where does it go? Is anybody watching it and tracking it? Well, unfortunately, no, Neil. Otherwise, the gig would be up, wouldn't it?
Well, it's unnecessary to know where it goes. You know where it's not going.
Exactly.
Neil.
You don't need to know where it's going. You need to know where they say it goes. And if it doesn't go there, you're one of the naysayers who's like, well, prove to me where it does go. Well, no. It's not going to Narnia. Well, where do they go? They go in the wardrobe? Yeah, I know they go in the wardrobe. And when they go in the wardrobe, there's all this smoke and fireworks. Yeah, that's the prestige of them making you think, making them go into the door, closing it, and then having them disappear is the trick. No, they went to Narnia. They didn't. There isn't such a place as Narnia. Well, where did they go? Does it matter if I prove there's a trapdoor in the wardrobe? Does it really matter? They aren't going to Narnia. No, not until you prove there's a trapdoor, they're not. Till you prove there's a trapdoor in the wardrobe, Narnia is real. That's your position, Neil.
No, I'm just saying there's got to be a way that you could visually see it. People all over the place, pick it up here, pick it up there. I see it going here. All right. But it comes to a point where it gets...
I can find that
out
if
of
you want
visual
it.
sight,
I can. He's really not picking up what I'm putting down. So if I pander to you and go and get you some footage of people pulling NASA wreckage out of the ocean, yeah? What will happen?
Don't talk about wreckage.
Based on your temperament, which is very interesting.
Talking about in flight. What the freak is so hard about understanding? I watch a plane take off and I can track it. There's people all over the world that can say, I see the plane here, I see the plane here, I see the plane there.
I already answered this.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a really complicated looking control room with lots of men saying nominal. What do you want? You asked, I answered. Chocolate, back me up. Now you're asking again. It's going to get frustrating, Neil. What do you want?
Did
Pay
you
attention
not
to the
track this
answer.
on? Did you not yourself track the sun with a bunch of people?
Shifting uncomfortably in my chair. What did you say again?
Did you track the sun with a bunch of people, right? I heard you say you guys tracked the sun on its course.
Yeah,
correct?
man. We got one guy to show it while it was in his period, while it was up above the horizon all day. Like, in other words, 24-hour sun in the north.
So why can't we just all track where this rocket's going?
Because you can't keep your eyes on it. So the reason I went straight to an example of a man keeping his eyes on the sun the entire time, it never left his sight. He could always see it. But in this example, it goes over the horizon in a parabolic arc, and then you see a little blip in a control room with lots of men saying nominal. Now, unfortunately, to my total detriment and stupidity, I said it went into the Bermuda Triangle. I'm an idiot. God, do I regret saying that. If I'd have had a bit more sleep, I probably wouldn't have. But it's become the main focus. Who cares? It is not going to a sky vacuum. The prestige of watching the rocket launch off the ground is what dupes the masses. It's the prestige, 5th time.
Fine.
Which has been a little difficult to work with, according to history. The mid-infrared instrument operates a much longer wavelength than that of any telescope before it.
Blah, 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 blah. Technical bullshit that makes no difference to the argument.
The advantage of this is that we can study warmer objects like dust disks around young stars.
Physical assumption bias. How do you know it's dust? You don't.
Exoplanetary atmospheres.
No exoplanets. It's just a name that astronomers have given. Go on.
But hold on, Nathan. They know it's dust because of stellar spectroscopy.
Yeah, we covered that. But yes, good to bring it back on what we've already debunked, yes. That's what they're claiming this, and he only said it 30 seconds ago. There's just been a big discussion with Neil in between. So yeah, good to bring it back on track. They're claiming this
I
with
wonder
stellar.
what the spectroscopy results would be for them to come to the conclusion it would be dust, though.
Exactly. They need to have some validity in their spectroscopy, and they don't.
And regions of intense star formation. The mid-infrared instrument captures detailed images and spectroscopic data in this crucial part of the electromagnetic spectrum. This offers valuable insight into the properties of celestial objects.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Just making the baseless assertion repeatedly, but by adding in the weak words we've already used here, yeah, it doesn't give it any more validity. It's just techno-babble.
Which are formed predominantly in the mid-infrared. Together, these instruments form a more comprehensive and versatile astronomic exploration toolkit.
Again, now it's a toolkit for exploration. No, it's not giving you any of these things. It's not exploring anything. It's not giving you any answers to anything. Again, the third tripling down on it, it's just going to get a third pause with me saying, no, it doesn't. Yeah, your spectroscopy isn't valid when it's uncontrolled.
They enable our astronomers to observe celestial phenomena that occur at various wavelengths.
Phenomena at various wavelengths? Phenomena? Cool. We've got a method that can establish empirical outcomes in that regard. We can validate causes of those effects if we follow the scientific method. They won't. They'll just give it a name. Someone trying to get a word in?
I also want, what about wavelength? Is he talking about light?
Yes.
Wavelength?
Oh, go on, Owen. You're on fire, mate. Go ahead.
It's just that this thing about light not actually being a wave. So how is a presuppositional thing in a medium that can exist going to use a technique of stellar spectroscopy which doesn't actually work to come to that conclusion?
It's riddled. Absolutely. Did you want to add something, Adam? Or was that chocolate?
It wasn't me, but I will add, I'm wondering when they're going to tell us the name of the plane this thing is supposedly flying around on. Because, the other one was on a plane called Sofia. I wonder if this one's on another plane and maybe they named it something different. Because this is nonsense.
Oh, it's good to reminisce. I know he's still about in a very minor way, but Robert Bassano was the first to expose that. And some things in life change. For example, at one point I thought I was on a spinning water ball, but some things in life don't change. And QE managed to rumpus a really good conversation between Robert Bassano and a NASA professional, because he really wanted to get a point in on a conversation that was being recorded with a third party listening. That's QE. And he ruined it, and the guy got shirty with him, not surprisingly, and then ended the conversation that Robert Bassano was doing really well as a student of this subject and curious about various aspects that this NASA guy was playing right into his hands with. But anyway, Robert Bassano exposed Sofia as being Hubble, right?
Right.
I want to bring something up. When he says phenomenon, and then he points at a thing, that's not a phenomenon.
It's concrete now.
A thing.
Yes. Sorry.
But
I'm
they're
not very
different
frosty today,
wavelengths.
basically, and my panel of basically they've got my back. Everyone's picking up my slack at the moment. So yeah, absolutely. What was happening? Oh, we see something. That's not a phenomena. But again, he's in a category error. Go on, Adam. Unless he's pocket pressing his.
I wanted to finish the Robert Bassano stuff. I remember that reminiscence when he's led the NASA guy to. Basically, he's kind of like departmental fighting. So he gets the guys to admit that basically they've been ripping it off, and it's these telescope strapped to a Boeing 747 that's been having its stuff stolen, slightly detailed, and then passed off as Sophia, isn't it?
Passed off as Hubble. So Sophia's the telescope. They're taking the imagery. So when you see the pillars of heaven, okay, it might start off as an infrared image that's unrecognizable in a spectrum that we can see. But once you've coloured it in, you present it on a load of like kids. What would you call them when your kid goes to a telescope centre and it's got all the space stuff everywhere, and amongst it you'll have big pictures of the pillars of creation allegedly taken by Hubble.
Planetarium?
Planetarium, yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Anyway, those pictures, no, they've come from Sophia. They haven't come from space, obviously. So, like with any understanding that something isn't correct because an aspect they've said it's come from isn't real, in this case space, for the Hubble telescope to be in, you dig a bit and you find out that no, it's not utilising a space sky vacuum, because there isn't one. I mean, we knew that anyway, but it's just nice to have something to back it. Go, here you go, here's where your images come from. But now they've got a new story. James Webb. Go ahead, Chocolate, sorry.
No, I was just going to say the best part of it was that Robert Bassano got this guy to admit, and I think the guy was one of the heads of that program, got him to admit that he doesn't know where it is. They have no idea where it is. There's no way to do any type of maintenance on it, and they've never seen it. And this is the guy that's in charge of the whole program, as far as I remember.
Just
Could be
clarify
wrong,
what you're
but
talking about.
What's
You
the
just keep
problem? They
stop.
accept that.
Just clarify what you're talking about, Chocolate. He's just saying it. It's not contextualized what you're specifically talking about.
the Hubble, right? So as he was speaking to the guy in charge of the Hubble program on the phone, from what I remember, because it's been a while since I listened to that, but from what I remember, we got the guy to admit that this program, the Hubble is not made, it's not worked on. They have no idea where it is exactly, and the guy never saw it. So
Yep.
how are you in charge of something for years and years, and you've never seen the thing? You don't know how, you don't know what it's doing, and basically got the guy to admit that the same kind of camera that's on that supposedly the Hubble is what's flying around on this plane called Sofia, which is short for Stratospheric Observatory for. I forget the rest of it. So, but yeah,
It's bullshit. It's just like the Lucifer. I mean, they chose it for the name, not because it just happens to some
infrared. Yeah, I got it. Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. I think I'm right. You could back me up.
It's exactly what's being talked about on this video, which is why the timing's so epic. Anybody else who wanted to add anything before I start the video again?
I'm sure that the new actual plane for this new telescope is going to turn out to be called Hermes.
Right.
That would be a fitting name.
Revealing abundant details about our universe. In addition to its advanced technology, the James Webb Telescope will be positioned at a distance of 1.5 million kilometers from Earth.
No, it won't. Absolutely, without question. It will not. Yeah, that area isn't real. That's a sky vacuum. That's in the sky vacuum. So no, definitely not. We'd all be dead. Plus, all of their scaling values to claim distances for things like this are based on an R value and Kepler's third law because they're claiming to put it into an orbit. So they're going to need the distance validating. It's like saying, we know we've gone to the moon because of the amount of fuel you use. Oh, really? Well, the calculation would have required an R value measurement. Where's that? Well, there isn't one. Well, are you leaning back on having the right amount of fuel based on a derivation based on R that you haven't got a measurement for? It's not going to get you very far, and it's not going to get you an orbital value at a certain distance either. Everything hangs on R, and we debunked it.
This region is known as the second LaGrange point.
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say that's a short distance, high energy problem.
Okay. You have to fill us in on that, what that means.
Well, usually when they say things like that, they're trying to bring you into a conceptual world where it's your imagination telling you that the Earth's a sphere or you're flying around the sun. Or there's gas not filling space.
Gotcha.
They'll say, well,
you can give me the objection. So if I say, well, hang on a minute, in this diagram, right, we've got things allegedly falling around other things. Okay, so we can all see the imagery. Eli. Okay, so why is it, John, that if I have a marble and I get something that's to scale with this sun example and I drop it, why doesn't it just fall around the marble? That would be a what problem?
that is a short distance, high energy problem.
Oh, I see. Hope you all picked up on that. Thank you, John. Hey, Eli.
Hey, guys.
Point. This position offers the telescope several advantages. Aside from the fact that being in a stable orbit in the second Lagrange point allows the telescope to maintain a fixed position relative to the Earth and the Sun, the position also cuts out the need for the telescope.
It has a fixed position with respect to the Earth and the Sun. Hang on a second.
Why did they show a flat plane in that animation?
What's the word? Oh, goddamn. Oh, you tried to define this word, Arwin. You don't tell him, John. What was the word again, Arwin? You tried to define it.
Define what? The flat plane?
Yeah, the specific flat plane that John detailed to us and gave us a very, very specific word to detail. I'll just put it back on screen. Right, John went through this yesterday, and you tried to butt in and define a word, and I stopped you.
You mean the how the black hole was a three-dimensional object?
No,
from
I mean,
a two-dimensional perspective.
What was that word that you tried to define over the top when I asked, well, what does that word mean? And then you started talking. But I'm testing to see if you can even bloody remember the word. Let's see how you get on.
I don't. Sorry.
Go on,
Isn't
John.
it anastotically or some shit?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Asymptotically.
One more time.
Asymptotically.
Not you, Arwin.
Asymptotically.
No, again, same old routine. Some things never change. Everybody shut up. Just want to hear John say it one time clearly so the subtitles pick up on it.
Asymptotically.
That's the word that describes what's on screen now. So a general disappearance of curve at distance. Again, you know, this is low energy, high distance, no problem. Right. So asymptotically, if I'm saying it correctly, is the overriding disappearance of curve at distance. Have I said that correctly, John?
Yeah, that works.
From the fact that being in a stable orbit in the second Lagrange point allows the telescope to maintain a fixed position relative to the Earth and the Sun.
I mean, I don't know what Lagrange point is, but to say it has a fixed position with respect to the Earth and Sun, isn't that impossible? Whole
Yeah,
fire.
you can have a fixed position to something that's moving at 500,000 miles per hour. Why not?
But they're both moving at different
Yeah.
rates, and I don't see how it can have a fixed position to both of them.
I know.
We'll brush past that because I don't know what LaGrange points are, so maybe that will explain it. Oh, go on.
I just looked it up.
Go on.
Lagrange point is the claimed point after which here you go. The gravitational pull of Earth no longer pulls small objects like meteorites into its gravitation. So it's like where the gravity no longer is strong enough.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that there's a pull? What's that? I don't follow.
Whoa.
A pull?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's not my claim, dude.
But what about George Musa? Gravity's not a force. I mean, if I think of it as a force, will that mean in this description there's a pull suddenly if I think about it as being a pull when it's not a pull? Not a force. How can it be pulling anything?
Oh,
It's
they
an
say
emerging
gravitational influence, not necessarily force. So it could be space-time bending influence.
Could it be that it's not actually a force, but you can think of it as a force, end quote George Musa, and therefore when I can, because I've got permission from Musa, to think about it as a force, and I do, it creates an emergent force. Could that be it?
Yes, it's an
No, I
emerging
don't think so.
fault.
I think they're trying to avoid addressing whether it's a force or not a force, and they're just talking about gravitational influence.
Oh, I can clarify that for you. It's not a force, end quote George Musa, but you can think of it as a force. There you go.
But the point with respect to the Earth and Sun would be a constant orbital point at a set distance from the Earth as it rotates between the Earth and the Sun.
That's going to change its distance to the sun constantly, isn't it?
Well, it's just with respect to those two bodies. I don't think they're accounting for the 3% differential. I don't think they're accounting for that when they make their statement.
Okay. I'm just going to hold fire on it because I'm having trouble conceptualizing this in a 3D manner in an orbital way when he says that these distances are going to be essentially the same is what I'm hearing, but I don't see how that's possible, but it could just be me being frazzled. So we'll just move on.
The position also cuts out the need for the telescope to constantly adjust its position or orbit. This offers the stability required for uninterrupted observations.
It's in orbit. So there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm too frazzled.
That was confusing.
In addition, being in L2 provides significant thermal benefits. The James Webb Telescope is generally equipped with a suite of highly sensitive instruments.
Being in L2, so it's like when they overclock a CPU and they pour, what is it, liquid nitrogen? Is that what he's saying?
I'm not sure.
What's L2 mean? So frazzled. What time
Maybe
is
it's
it?
some piece of equipment on the satellite that they haven't explained yet.
Maybe.
I believe it's a
Lunar plug.
level of orbit.
L2 orbit. Oh, yeah, okay. What am I thinking of? I don't know.
All of which must operate at extremely cold temperatures to enable it to detect the faintest infrared signals from distant celestial objects.
You'll need R value for the distant bit.
Positioning the telescope at the second Lagrange point can utilize a large sun shield to protect its sensitive instruments from
So the point that we lose the effects of the force that's not a force that we can think of as a force, therefore it's got an emergent force when you point it at those points. None of this seems to be making any sense to me. Again, I keep apologizing for being frazzled, but really, this isn't making any sense to me.
This is deep presuppositional orbital mechanics and shit. I mean, this is like the cream of the crop when it comes to presuppositional space stuff.
Okay.
Direct sunlight and maintain a cool operating environment.
The James Webb Space Telescope is intended to support astronomers around the world to investigate what are the first stars that formed after the Big Bang.
So based on an idea that is disproven by the first law of thermodynamics, the telescope's going to assist them in extrapolation of that idea that couldn't possibly be correct. There was me thinking it's just like looking at stuff. So, no, not grand enough to say, yeah, we're going to look at stuff in the sky. No, it's going to help us extrapolate out ideas of a first law of thermodynamics violation, nature creating itself.
How did the galaxies grow?
You won't find this out by looking at lights in the sky.
The sun shield.
The how would be explained by establishment of cause and effect reasoning. After observing a phenomena, half the time they can't even call it that, and then varying and manipulating that which you assume caused it. How did that happen? Well, because this was varied, proving it was the cause. See, that's empiricism. See, that's what science offers. Now, these numpties have got nothing but phenomena half the time to study. So they're halfway there to giving a hypothesis. Let's just ask the housekeeping question. How long are we into the show? 10 minutes left, roughly. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Negative.
But they're halfway there, right? They've got their dependent variable, observe natural phenomena sometimes. No
Is
science.
it really a natural phenomenon when you're taking the observation from a medium that doesn't exist?
And extrapolating out a first law of thermodynamics violation backstory.
Right.
Acts as an umbrella, shielding the telescope from direct impacts from the sun, moon, and Earth.
Direct impacts from the sun, moon, and Earth, assuming that the sun and moon are going to produce material that are going to impact with something in a sky vacuum. Man, the law is backwards, isn't it?
Minimizing heat sources from these bodies and allowing the instruments to operate at standard low temperatures. Being in L2 also provides an unobstructed view of the universe. This unobstructed view allows the telescope to observe the cosmos along various wavelengths, from
So what? That's all you're doing. You're just looking at stuff.
the visible to the infrared.
Wow, you're looking at light spectra that we don't see in with our eyeballs. Wow. You're still just looking at stuff though, aren't you? That's really all you're doing.
This enables the telescope to collect crucial data about the stars, galaxies, and exoplanets.
It lets you have a look at them. By gathering data about them, you mean, if I phrase it such, you'll think that I can give you bullshit about what they are. No, you're just looking at them. The valuable data is this on screen now, if you want to take it as read that these have come from telescopes. Fine, I will take it as read that these have come from telescopes. What's that? They've been coloured in, objects a flat earther. Yeah, I'm a flat earther and I don't care. It's fine, you can colour them in. What's that? Now we know about the Big Bang. No. You just show me what you've taken a picture of. Yes, it's lovely. Oh, thank you. These are really nice photos. I mean, coloured in images. Whatever you want to call them, they're lovely. Don't tell me Jack. They certainly don't extrapolate out to a first law of thermodynamics violation, Big Bang, which is what apparently the money's being poured into after taking pictures of the night sky.
What's an
Placing the
exoplanet?
telescope on the...
Go on.
What the heck is an exoplanet?
I have a slight issue. Maybe you guys can help me out.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I went silent. Arwie wants to launch into heliocentric.
No,
Go
but
ahead.
an exoplanet is a planet that's like way outside of the regular type of orbits around the sun. It's like planets that they barely are planets. Like Pluto would be like an exoplanet, if I'm not mistaken. Or an
How do they
exoplanet
know?
could be like even completely outside of the normal orbit system. That's what I thought exoplanets were.
I thought exoplanets were actually planets of other suns, which
Yeah, that's what I
are
thought they were.
stars in the sky.
That's what I thought they were. Planets
Oh,
beyond.
I've
There
been
you go.
right.
Outside of
Okay,
the
stop.
Right.
Stop. It's just planets that aren't in the solar system. That's all they are.
Right.
No,
Okay.
no. They not in the solar system, but they still have to orbit.
Yeah, well, it goes.
Well, they say that Jupiter is an exoplanet.
Which kind
it's
of
not.
means they're in the solar system. So I don't understand that, but it does require an orbit outside the solar system. But surely that would mean it's part of the solar system because that's what things that's how you become a constituent of it, is to orbit the luminary in the middle. So it just seems make yourself look intelligent word, isn't it? So they put Pluto in that category.
And Jupiter apparently also. So I think that like all the outer planets are exoplanets. So it's like the inside ring and the outside ring. I'm looking it up and they say that Jupiter is an
I've got it from
exoplanet.
NASA. Let me just give NASA's explanation for what it is. From NASA, what is an exoplanet? An exoplanet is any planet beyond our solar system. Most orbit other stars, but free-floating exoplanets called rogue planets orbit the galactic center. It's all bollocks. We haven't got a galactic center. We haven't got orbits.
Frick?
We haven't got a solar system. It's all bollocks. But that's what NASA say.
So it's just any other planet other than the ones we know are planets in terms of the heliocentric. So it's just anything that could be classified as a planet that's not of our 9 known planets, or 8 planets as they call it now. Is that? So it is. Just trying to sound intelligent again with a big word to mean any other planets other than ones we've got. That's
what I always took it as.
Second Lagrange
but real
point.
quick,
Go on.
yeah, real quick, back to the issue I was looking at. Maybe you guys can help me with this. So, quick wiki search of Lagrange point. The top paragraph says, in celestial mechanics, the Lagrange points are points of equilibrium for small mass objects under the gravitational influence of 2 massive orbiting bodies. Mathematically, this involves the solution of the restricted 3-body problem. Did they solve the 3-body problem?
No.
That they have?
No, but they moved it along. They could postpone it thanks to
Hold
the
on.
Lagrange.
Yeah, no, they don't, Chocolate. And you feel free to give your conclusion based on that fact that you've just disseminated so eloquently. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, if they're saying that these points of equilibrium for objects under gravitational influence, which whatever the hell that is, and they're saying that mathematically this solves for the solution of their 3-body problem, if they haven't solved that, then this Lagrange point is just nonsense.
Perfect.
Don't think about it.
What's that? Try not to think about it.
Don't think about it. I mean, it's the solution. It doesn't resolve anything. It just moves it further down the line. So you don't have to consider that you don't have the solution. It's just the next step. It'll work. Don't worry. They'll find it.
Thank you, Chocolate.
Significantly minimizes the interference from Earth's heat and electromagnetic signals. The telescope located so far away from our planet reduces the contamination of the telescope's observations by unwanted terrestrial signals, increasing its ability to capture faint and distant astronomical phenomena.
Did he just debunk spectroscopy?
How so?
Because he mentioned since it's way out in space, it lessens the interference that we get here on Earth.
Oh, what you're saying is when stellar spectroscopy is performed here on Earth, that statement about the need to isolate from everything between you and the thing you're measuring. But that aside, his objection is that, well, we're going into a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum, to overcome the problems that we would have if we were doing spectroscopy in any other circumstance.
That's
So
what I
there's
think he was
problems
saying, right?
in the other circumstances then. Yes, I see your point.
Besides these advantages, this strategic placement ensures that the telescope remains in a stable orbit, shielded from the heat of the sun
There are no orbits.
and terrestrial interference from Earth. Operating at
That terrestrial interference that craps all over all the other claims of spectroscopy then, when they're stellar in nature.
extreme sub-zero temperatures, specifically at minus 233 degrees Celsius.
Check out the doublespeak. Got a picture of a volcano and he's talking about minus temperatures.
The telescope minimizes its thermal emissions, allowing for highly sensitive infrared observations. However, one of the most electrifying aspects of the James Webb Telescope is its ability to study the universe at its earliest.
No. So you're going to now appeal to the speed of light based on Einstein. We've already got a problem with where it's put in terms of what it's referencing, because it's got a three-body problem. The chocolate just beautifully, eloquently disseminated to a live audience. So no. But we have just summarised that it's looking at stuff, and those images are lovely, but it's not a time machine. Yeah? Based on a notion of time coming from a concept based on the movement of the celestial objects, extrapolated out into a fourth-dimensional pseudo-Ramonian 4D space-time that has its problems. The chocolate just went through. So we're not going to be looking back in time along geodesics because of the speed of light, which is debunked by quantum mechanics. So you haven't got a one-way speed of light, you haven't got an R value, you haven't got any orbits. And the three-body problem in the Einsteinian maths, that definitely isn't reality, doesn't give you any credence when you're talking about the locations in a presupposed orbit. It's riddled. But no, you haven't got a time machine. You're not looking back in time. It's all nonsense.
Due to the telescope's ability to study infrared light, which has longer wavelengths than visible light, it can easily look through cosmic dust clouds that haze our view and detect.
So it's looking through other things that could affect the spectroscopy result. But it's out in space to isolate from the dust it's looking through. So it's in no way isolated from this crap then. So your conclusions are all void based on that last statement. But further to that, you're saying it can see through the gas clouds further back in time. This is not a DeLorean. We cannot look back in time. In the pre-show, we had a very interesting philosophical discussion about whether or not you could prove yesterday existed. Meanwhile, these numpties think they're looking back in time based on out-of-date, debunked, pseudo-four-space concepts. Go ahead, Darwin.
I forgot what I wanted to say. Never mind.
Just ejaculated because you felt the need to. It's fair enough.
I'm
detect
sorry.
older lights that have
I had
traveled for
something to say, but then I forgot.
Premature ejaculated.
billions of years.
I just like how
This
he.
allows.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I just like how he debunked spectroscopy on Earth and in space.
Yeah, that was epic. Who said that? Was that
Oh, right.
Matthew?
Now I remember what I wanted to say. Yeah. So he's basically saying that the dust cloud, yeah, it's still in the way. It works a little better. It's a little closer to what it should be to be effective. On Earth, it's just completely and utterly useless. Everything is in the way. The gas of the atmosphere is in the way, and then the dust clouds in between those far side. You can't see anything with it. It's basically absolutely provably useless. But in space, it's only a little bit useless. Right? There's still obstructions. It's just not perfect, but it's almost there.
And you're looking through a little bit of dust. I mean, it's pretty much isolated. Pretty much isolated is basically isolated, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
almost there.
It's only mostly dead. It's only mostly dead.
Yeah, it's mostly dead. It's a little bit pregnant. Just a little bit pregnant. Alrighty then. I'm going to round out the live show on that note. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Thank God, the live shows managed to stay up for an entire hour. But another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. And thank the Lord that the computer didn't fall over. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!